This TradingView indicator finds the exact high and low points in the market. And in this video, we will take a look at exactly how to open up the indicator in TradingView. We will take a look at the best settings.
But wait! There's more!
We're also gonna take a look at how you can upgrade your indicator to look like this for more and improved signals. So yeah guys, let's not waste any time here. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so first of all you want to open up a clean chart with no indicators. Right now as I'm speaking, I'm looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame. What you then want to do is that you want to navigate up here to the indicators tab and you want to search for pivot point high and low. And let's see here, wait, it's maybe enough to search for just pivot point here. So yes guys, make sure that you only search for pivot point here and you want to navigate it down to where it says pivot points, high and low, and you want to open up this indicator right here. So now as you can see, multiple pivot points has appeared here on the chart. But before we can trade here, we need to change some settings and understand the indicator. So what I want to do right now is that I want to navigate up here to the settings tab for the indicator and press settings right here. And the two most important settings here are the pivot high setting and the pivot low setting. You can see that the standard settings here is 10 and 10 for both. And what this setting basically do is that we can change the value of how many candlesticks the indicator uses to find these high and low points. So for example, if we change it to 5, so let's change pivot high to 5, 5, 5, and let's change pivot low to 5, 5 as well, and press OK. Now you can see here that we have more points here on the charts, and these points are also highs and low. But as you can see, these points are not as significant as the points we looked at earlier. And in many cases, this is not something we want. So let's go back here to the settings tab for the indicator, and let's just show you guys what happens if we increase the pivot high and pivot low. So let's change pivot high to 2020 and pivot low to 2020. Now the indicator will use 20 candlesticks both to the left and to the right of the pivot point to make its calculations. And as you can see, now we have much fewer points here on the chart. And you may of course wonder, what is the best setting here? Well, the setting we are at right now, which is 2020, can be very useful to find significant support and resistance levels. So let me show you guys this by taking a look at the most recent price action here for Bitcoin. So as you can see, in this area, we have pretty much right here to right here. You can see that this is an area that contains multiple pivot points. You can see we have multiple pivot points and we also have significant pivot points, and this makes this price area right here very likely to be a strong support or resistance level. And this is just one of many use cases for this indicator. But now guys, you are probably interested in how we can improve this indicator even further to get more signals. So what I want to do here is that I actually for now want to close and remove the indicator right here. And what we want to do now is that we want to go back to the indicators tab, and now we want to search for now I think we want to search for pivot points high low. And then you want to navigate down here to the indicator right here, which is created by Mohammed Annan. So you want to open up this indicator right here. And now you may of course wonder, is this a completely new indicator? Well, it's the exact same thing, but with a few important differences. So let's navigate up here to the settings tab of the indicator we just recently opened. And you can see that the settings tab look pretty familiar here. You can see that we have the pivot high and pivot low, and currently we're having 5 and 5 for these settings, so we get many signals. This is, as I said before, many times too much. When finding significant support or resistance levels, you may want to choose 20 here, but for now let's choose 10, because 10 can often be a good balance between how significant the pivot points are and how long we have to wait for the pivot points to actually appear, and that is very important. So for now let's just use 10 10 here. And what we now have to do is that we have to go to the style tab here, and we want to go down here to where it says top levels HHLH, and we want to change this one to align, where it says bottom levels LLHL. We also want to change this one to align. You also want to go down and uncheck the labels tab. You want to go back to the inputs tab here, and I like to increase the opacity so we can see it clearly. So I increase the opacity for both of these settings, and you also want to make sure that this setting where it says show fractal breakouts is checked. So now we are ready to click OK here. And as you can see, now we have the exact same pivot points as with the first indicator. I can actually just open it up once again to show you guys. So we open up the pivot point high and low, and you can see that these indicators shows us the exact same thing, but with a few important differences. So let's once again take away that old indicator and take a look at the new one. So you can see that the new one still shows us the significant pivot points here, but you can also see that it says, for example, HH right here. This stands for higher high and means that this pivot point was a higher high compared to the previous pivot point. You can see this point is once again a higher high. You can see this point once again a higher high, but right here it says LH, and that stands for lower high. Same thing is true with the pivot lows. So now you may wonder, why is this useful? Well, many traders, especially beginners, often have troubles to see, what kind of trend we are in. But when you have an indicator that shows you the clear highs and lows, you can hopefully pretty clearly see the trend in the market, right? So this can be very useful to identify significant market structure. Another very useful thing about this upgraded version is that you will see the breakouts. You will see when we break significant pivot points. So for example, right here, you can see that we have a pivot point. We can see on the line right here where the pivot point was, but you can also see that we have a symbol right here. You can see we have a sort of green arrow. I hope you can see, it's pretty small, but we have a green arrow that shows us that we broke previous market structure, and many times this can actually be the beginning of a larger move towards the upside. Alright guys, so now you have learned about pivot points, but there is so much more to learn. So if you have the time today, I highly recommend you guys to check out my educational trading playlist here on YouTube. I have tons of videos on TradingView indicators, trading strategies, and so on and so on. I hope to see you guys over there. Take care. Ciao, ciao.